Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 and happy holidays. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com. Pretty crazy how that works that way, right? I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief of the Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. If this is your first time joining me, kick back, relax, put your feet up. It is pretty casual around here. In fact, it is certainly not rocket surgery, as I mainly talk about the latest in tabletop gaming news. Every once in a while, we'll talk a little PC gaming like we will tonight. But for the most part, it's all tabletop gaming around here. But of course, if you are somebody who religiously watches the show or pops in from time to time, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me once again. Tonight is Wednesday, December 30th, 2020. This is live stream number 597. 600 next week, folks. 600 next week. Tonight is New Year's Eve. So thank you for joining me. This is my final show of 2020. Yeah, that's right. Last show of the year. But I do want to remind you, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live right here on YouTube, Monday through Thursday nights. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Warhammer 40K Roleplay Wrath and Glory from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Oh, yeah. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And lastly, this is a live stream. So that means chat is available on YouTube. It's not on screen. One of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. Well, sometimes chat does zip by pretty quickly, but I do my best to pay attention to what's cooking. So tonight, John Vogel was first out the gate, saying hello, asking if this is a War Game Wednesday, and it is not. Sorry. Really wasn't any new wargaming news, although there is something we will discuss after I talk about all the different news pieces, something wargame-ish, and it's newsworthy, but we will talk about that in just a bit. So we also have Clint Gibson. A Gray Day is in chat. Beat Cafe is here as well. Flaming Huron has arrived. The Madman's here as well, too. So we've got a good chat busting out right off the bat. So A Gray Day is curious about how much product, isn't it Amarillo Design Bureau? Because I think I called them Armadillo Design Bureau one time, and they got pissed at me. So I think it's Amarillo. Maybe A Gray Day is right, but he's curious about how much product they're reprinting for all the old Starfleet battle stuff. Oh man, that's a blast from the past. I think we'll talk about. We might talk a little bit about Starfleet battles on Wednesday's show when my best friend Elliot Miller joins me for the hour. And because that was a game that we really played a lot. So Great A says, yes, spell check got him. Spell check got him. And Great A says there's a new Compass Games Kickstarter. I don't talk Compass Games, folks. I think we discussed this before. Sorry. They were extremely rude to me back in the day, so no, I have no time for Compass. I leave Compass, the guys over at Players Aid, they can talk about them. I just don't. Not my thing. Not my thing at all. Anyway, but outside of that, because I did take a peek, I looked to see if anything new, like over at Worthington, is anything cooking at GMT that I haven't already covered. No, not really. So anyway, Great A says that Compass comment was for Jeff Vogel, not for me. So that's okay. Anyway, I should say John Vogel, not Jeff Vogel. All righty. Anyway, we've got a lot of news tonight. I am going to jump right on in because arriving in early 2021 from Pegasus Spiele is Spy Connection. And I've got a wee bit of detail. Not much, nor do I have a lot of images either. In the world of international espionage, effective ways of completing missions are just as important as improvisation and secured travel routes. In Spy Connection, which was originally announced as Web of Spies, players travel Europe to fulfill their missions as quickly as possible. To fulfill mission cards, players have to build a route between all shown locations. While they are allowed to use their established network to fulfill future missions, their network is of limited size. Eventually, to expand in one direction, they have to remove markers elsewhere, thus changing their network throughout the game to meet the current requirements. Whoever manages to fulfill 7 missions first wins the game. There's never been an easier way of becoming an international spy than Spy Connection. Kind of odd that they put it that way, right? You want to be an international spy? Just pick up this game. The right mix of planning and improvisation is key to winning this network building family game for 2 to 4 players. Spy Connection is, as mentioned, for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up. Plays around 20 to 30 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $29.99 when it arrives in the first quarter of 2021. Cool. I think this might be a January release. I am not positive. Once again, because of COVID, there are a lot of companies who had planned on, releasing various games at a certain point. So distributors are still showing some of that kind of information, whereas there have been delays and things like that. So I don't know. All I know is Pegasus Spiele is very confident that this will be a Q1 release. Could be kind of fun. I wish I had more images to see what's going on here. It does kind of look like you're maybe kind of like almost like dropping pins into a map for your connections. And then as you go along, you have to, if you want to expand in one direction, you got to remove your little pin from the other area. So could be kind of cool. Could be kind of interesting. Moving right along, also arriving in 2021, which basically anything that would come out in like 3 days from now, 2 days from now, right? Anyway, coming in 2021, but I don't have any quarter when this is supposed to release. From Plaid Hat Games is a new chapter in the Stuffed Fables series. Here's the scoop on Oh Brother. The brave Stuffies from Stuffed Fables return for another round of bedtime adventures. Years after the original story, a new baby brother joins the family, bringing 2 toy companions of his own. Pokey the Unicorn, a stalwart Stuffy, and the muscular Manny, a headstrong hand-me-down action figure. With a sweet little boy to protect from the forces of the Fall, Pokey and Manny must learn the ropes from the beloved original cast and face a slate of new monsters from under the bed. The Stuff Fables Oh Brother expansion includes a new storybook with new challenges, enemies, and fables, along with new tokens, sleep cards, and its own discovery deck to lead you through each unique adventure. But you'll need components from the Stuff Fables base game in order to play. In addition to everything else, Pokey the Unicorn and Manny the action figure join the cast, adding their unique abilities to the team. Pokey doesn't equip any weapon items, but instead uses her puffy horn to fend off enemies. Manny, as a macho action figure, is made of strong plastic instead of the usual stuffing of other characters, so certain status conditions don't affect him as they would a typical stuffy. Can you protect your little boy from the dangers of the supernatural fall? Stuff Fables Oh Brother is for 2 to 4 players ages 7 and up. Should play in about 60 to 90 minutes. Do not have an MSRP as of yet, nor do we have a release date. I believe this was announced pretty recently. I believe it was this week that this was actually announced. I never had an opportunity to check out Stuff Fables. I heard really good things about it. It looks like it would be kind of a kick, and I know it is geared towards younger gamers. Here's a question that I would have, since I do not have children, and it has been quite a while since my niece and nephew were 7 years old. Do 7-year-olds have the patience for a 90-minute game? I'm just kind of curious because it says this is for ages 7 and up, plays it around 60 to 90 minutes. I don't imagine 7-year-olds have that sort of patience when it comes to a board game. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I remember my niece and nephew when they were around 7 years old, they couldn't sit there and watch like a cartoon that they loved for no 90 minutes without running around or doing something else. I'm kind of curious. If anybody has played the Stuff Fables, let me know in chat or in the comments as well if you're watching after the fact. I'm curious. I'm curious what people have thought of it. So the Madman says that his kids did not have that sort of patience at that age, and they still don't. So Grade says that their kids at that age were done with the game in about 45 minutes. See, that's what I would think. I would think they would not be able to last 2 hours. Just like I have seen some games, some war games, they'll say ages 12 and up, or I've even seen as low as 11 and up. And the game is like, oh, plays in 3 hours. I'm like, there's no 11-year-old kid who's probably going to sit for 3 hours with a war game. Just don't think that's happening. Don't think that's happening, Dooley. All right. So the 15 days of free PC games is beginning to wind down over at the Epic Games Store. We still had a new release today. It is Torchlight 2. Torchlight 2 is filled to the brim with randomized levels, enemies, and loot, capturing all the flavor and excitement of the original. Torchlight 2 expands the world and adds features players wanted most, including online and multiplayer. With 4 classes to choose from, you'll have a variety of play styles at your fingertips. Each class can be played as either male or female, with customized cosmetic features and looks to make your hero stand out. Play co-op with your friends via LAN or over the internet for free. Our matchmaking service lets you connect and play games with people around the world. I don't know if that's still going, because this game has been out for like 5 years, I think. Maybe even a little longer than that. Explore the vast overworld and multiple hub towns of Vilderan. Fight through rain, snow, day and night. Rain, snow, sleet. Be postman. Delivering mail. Maybe not. Level randomization ensures new layouts, paths, loot, and monsters every time you play. In New Game Plus, the game's not over until you say it is. Once you've beaten Torchlight 2's primary campaign, you can start again with the same character for a significantly greater challenge. You'll keep all the skills, gold, and gear you worked so hard for. Also includes pets and fishing. These popular features make the return in Torchlight 2 in improved form. More choices, better effects, and your pet will still make the run to town to sell your loot, so you don't have to. There is a video. It's a launch video. So what I'm going to do here, I actually had to mute out some of the music, but I believe we're still all right. Definitely take a peek. This is a fairly short launch video, so kick back and give it a peek. Torchlight 2 is available absolutely free over at the Epic Game Store until 10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. And then the final free game of the 15 days of free PC games will come out, and I do believe it is Jurassic World Evolution, which is sort of, in fact, if I remember correctly, I've never played it. I know it's got tons of DLC, which I had, if I remember right, I heard through the grapevine that you sort of have to have a lot of the DLC for it to be, for the game to really shine. But if I remember correctly, I think it's actually from the same people who do Planet Zoo. So I don't know. I have no idea. Now, it's possible that Epic could change their mind on that, but I think a lot of this stuff already had leaked a long time ago. So far, everything has been right on the money. That's why I haven't shared things like, oh, hey, tomorrow it's going to be, because it would be just my luck for me to say, oh, hey, tomorrow's free game is this. And then I put a news piece out, and then it's like, no, that's not going to be it. Flaming Heron says, you can get away with the base game for Jurassic World Evolution. Like I said, I have not played it. Malwinius from Yolk is in chat with us. Good to see you, Mal. Thanks for coming in and hanging out for the last episode of the Dispatch for 2020. And a Great A says that they like the first Torchlight better. And Flaming Heron says, at least it is in Torchlight 3. Yes, I was going to say, I've heard Torchlight 3 is awful. Awful. So earlier in chat, Flaming Heron was stealing my thunder because my next news piece is another free PC game. That's right. Flaming Heron has already mentioned it. GOG.com has a free PC game. I think they had a free one last week too. I don't remember it being something like really mind-blowing. But you got a little more time to get this than you do the freebie over at the Epic Game Store. But you can get your hands on Metro Last Light Redux. Absolutely free. Here are the details. It is the year 2034. Beneath the ruins of post-apocalyptic Moscow and the tunnels of the Metro, The remnants of mankind are besieged by deadly threats from outside and within. Mutants stalk the catacombs beneath the desolate surface and hunt amidst the poisoned skies above. But rather than stand united, the station cities of the Metro are locked in a struggle for the ultimate power, a doomsday device from the military vaults of D6. Yes, the six-sided die. That's just D6. A civil war is stirring that could wipe humanity from the face of the earth forever. As Artyom, burdened by guilt but driven by hope, you hold the key to our survival, the last light in our darkest hour. Immerse yourself in the Moscow Metro. Witness one of the most atmospheric worlds in gaming, brought to life with stunning next-gen visuals at 60 frames per second. Oh my goodness! Oh, 60 frames per second! Oh my gosh! Oh, can my brain even handle that? As I'm like laughing and joking, and then I start coughing. Brave the horrors of the Russian apocalypse. Equip your gas mask and an arsenal of handmade weaponry as you face the threat of deadly mutants, human foes, and the terrifying environment itself. It's rebuilt and remastered for next gen, or last gen, or maybe current gen, with all previous downloadable content included, new modes and features, and many gameplay improvements. This is the definitive version of the critically acclaimed classic that fans and newcomers alike will enjoy. Two unique playstyles, Spartan and Survival. Approach the campaign as a slow burn survival horror, or tackle it with the combat skills of a Spartan Ranger in these two unique modes. There's also the legendary Ranger mode that returns. Dare you play the fearsome Ranger mode? No HUD, UI, deadlier combat, and limited resources combine to create the ultimate immersive experience. You can download Metro Last Light Redux absolutely free over at GOG.com through January 1st. So you do have some extra time to get your hands on this. So here's what I found to be kind of interesting. So earlier, during the 15 days of free games over at Epic Game Store, they had Metro 2033 Redux. That was a freebie one of the days. Now over at GOG, you get the sequel. So it's like, if you have been paying attention and grabbing these free games, you can get 2/3 of the Metro trilogy absolutely free. Sweet. So I noticed some stuff in chat. So there's some discussion about Stalker and Metro. And it's Flaming here. It says, sorry, Jeff, I figure your freebies are usually Epic ones. Yeah, because usually it's Epic that has the freebies. GOG doesn't do free games too often. And when they do, it's a lot of times it's sort of like, wow, really? You're releasing that game from 1992 for free? Excellent. But I don't think I've ever played Metro. I'm pretty sure I started playing Stalker one time, and I was like, eh. And I know that Metro is very story heavy, and Stalker didn't feel that way. So I'm pretty sure I have never actually played any of the Metros. So I am actually, of course, I got 2033 Redux when it was free from Epic Games, and now I of course went and got Last Light Redux, so I've got that. So I think maybe during my downtime over the next few days, I will kind of play around with 2033. Nice. Kabuki Kid has joined us in chat as well. Good to see you, Double K. So Flaming Heron says, Stalker's good. Yeah, I know there's a new one coming out too. You know what? The only thing I can think of is either I started playing it and my head just wasn't in it, or Yeah, I would take a guess that's probably it. Or maybe I was playing on a computer that the graphics just weren't kicking it on it. I don't know. I don't know. So there you go. 2 free PC games for you. So a good amount of free gaming for you. Now, if you're curious about Epic Games, word is they are going to continue their weekly free PC games. I don't know. It's not officially from them, but inside sources, I guess, are saying that, yes, they plan on continuing that because, according to them, it brings in a lot of traffic and it really does increase their sales. Plus, I also noticed that it's not every time, but a lot of the free games from Epic normally have some DLC that's available as well. So I'm taking a guess that people tend to buy that DLC, especially for games that have been out for a while. So I don't know. Viper Dave has arrived in chat. Good to see you, Viper Dave. We got a good chat going tonight, everybody. So Flaming Heron says Stalker isn't for everyone. More free reign, like Metro titles, because it's chapter driven and not overly long. Just like I started playing Ark, I couldn't get into Ark because there was no story to it. I was like, it's like, this is kind of boring. It's like, that's why, oh gosh, what's the one where it's underwater, where it's mainly underwater, I should say, where your spaceship crashes, but you escaped in like an escape pod kind of thing. That's pretty cool. I enjoyed that because at least things were going on. It wasn't just, and granted, it's not necessarily story based, but it was more than just I'm just stumbling around like, I don't know, what am I doing? I don't know. All right, let's move on because I got more news. Let's talk some role-playing game. Great Ace says BioShock. Wise ass. I love BioShock. Loved all 3 BioShocks. Yes, it's Subnautica. Thank you, Flaming Heron. That's exactly it. Subnautica. All right. So, available in PDF from Draco Studios is Eldritch Century. Here's the skinny. For 66 years, the miasma has been slowly eating away at the world. This led to a violent schism in humanity, leading to the formation of 6 factions with extreme and diametrically opposing agendas. Jeez, I need a sip here. I know, great. I never played the BioShock board game either. Never even got a look at it. All right. On this wounded Earth, the unearthing of ancient and forbidden secrets led to the development of weird technology, while eldritch beings slowly plunge us into the unknowable. With the world powers ready to go at each other's throats, the only thing keeping us from falling over the edge is the Minerva Initiative, a secret multilateral organization seeking to understand these mysteries and hopefully put an end to the horrors they beget. This is the end of history. This is the Eldritch Century. Eldritch Century is fully compatible with the 5e rule set, including the stats, powers, and abilities. In addition, the book details the Draco system. In this system, each character is created following a series of prompts based on the setting. We call this character creation concept the exegesis system. Okay. This helps define where they're from, who they meet, and establishes their paths. The paths are what gives each character their abilities, powers, and uses of their effort slots. A player may be able to take up to 3 paths depending on their decisions during character creation. The power system is free form, and each faction has their own style, which can be shaped on the run. As a result, a Sino-Siberian that takes the Tesla-mancer path, bet you that's somehow dealing with electricity, but had to endure a long bureaucratic process, will be different from a Teslamancer that got into the Sino-Siberian Mandate Party from childhood. Eldritch Century Chronicles of the Wounded Earth is a horror science fiction game that places players in an alternate history Earth after the Great War, when a strange fog consumed Europe and forced the nations to regroup in different factions. It features the Draco system composed of 3 key elements: abilities, dice rolls, and saves, based on the 5E system with adjustments in some skills and the inclusion of powers from effort. Special section for the game masters with hints to lead a successful expedition through the miasma. A bestiary with over 30 horror monsters, including stat blocks for 5e. This includes 2 PDFs, each with approximately 300 pages and full-color illustrations. So approximately 600 pages is what we're looking at. I'm not sure. That's what they're saying, though. So this PDF includes Expeditions, which is a detailed look at the system with which to play a session of the Eldritch Century tabletop role-playing game, along with a quick look at the factions that make up the Wounded Earth. The system defines character creation, combat, and traversing the miasma. There's also the Almanac. It's a concise and long definition of the factions that make up the Wounded Earth, where players will live out their tabletop RPG adventures. Additionally, a bestiary at the end of the book details the monsters that players can find within the miasma. The 2 books are available as 1 PDF. Well, I guess it's 2 PDF. It's 1 purchase over at DriveThruRPG. And it's available for $32.50. I believe, I might be wrong, I believe Draco Studios is out of Russia. I think. I might be way off base. Because actually there are a few game companies with Draco in the name. So, but for some reason, I think Draco Studios is a Russian game company. And this was a very successful Kickstarter. Grade A says they're based out of Mexico. I must be thinking of the other Draco. Trying to remember. I can't remember what the rest of the name is to that company. Alrighty. So this looks kind of cool, kind of interesting, kind of oddball kind of setting. So why not? Could be kind of cool. So a Grade A is talking about Plaid Hat did the BioShock game, but it's not on their website anymore. I don't know how well it did. So John says Flying Pig Games has sake on Wargame Vault. They're selling sake? Like, have some sake? So, all right. Flaming Heron's talking about BioShock. The board game, yes. I think you're right. Flaming Heron is saying that they thought that the board game was based on BioShock Infinite, which here's something weird. Oh, John says it's a sale. They have a sale on Flying Big Games has a sale on Wargame Vault. I don't know. I just read what the chat says. It says sake or sake. I said it was sake. I thought maybe it was a new game that I wasn't aware of. But the weird thing I always thought was once BioShock Infinite came out, the company that made it went belly up. It was like, what? You're kidding. I mean, just goes to show you, you can sell millions of units as far as a video game and still not make enough money. So yeah, I thought that was very, very bizarre. All right, my final news piece, now available in PDF from Flying Buffalo Games, is the revised Catacombs of the Bear Cult, Level 1. I've got the dope. A complete GM adventure for Tunnels and Trolls, now enhanced with color maps and additional art from the Tunnels and Trolls archives, including a brand new color map and never before seen art, I should say, by Liz Danforth and Steve Crompton. The Great Road, that ancient highway stretching between Kazan and Khosht, has long been the overland artery of the Empire of Kazan. Armed men guard every caravan, for the route is not a safe one. Still, the way has become even more perilous since the reemergence of the cult of the Great Bear. Sweeping from the forested hills north of Khosht, the cultists have wiped out whole caravans, leaving only the bloody ground for would-be rescuers to find. The cult of the Great Bear has become a deadly menace. A bounty has been placed on the heads of all cult members, and the Death Empress herself has promised a special reward for the person who brings her the head of Bjorni Osa Medved, the leader of the dreaded cult of the Great Bear. I should mention, if you go over to Drive-Thru RPG and take a look at this PDF, I'm sure they have not changed it. That last sentence, the leader of the dreaded cult of the Great Bear, actually says the leader of the dreaded cult of the Care Bear. I was like, what? Somebody messed that up. Let's go take a peek, see if it's still there. It was this afternoon. Your group of characters have entered the territories of the Bear Cult. Their fame and fortune and their lives depend upon how well they deal with these shape-shifting highwaymen of the Great Road. This is a Game Master's adventure for Tunnels and Trolls. You're going to need the Tunnels and Trolls rules as well to play. This was originally designed for 5th edition TNT, so you can also play this adventure with any other edition of TNT as well. It is recommended for lower to mid-level characters. This 43-page PDF of Catacombs of the Bear Cult, Level 1, is available over at Drive-Thru RPG for $2.95. Nice. Very, very nice. I have a soft spot for Tunnels and Trolls. I really do. I think their adventures also have a nice vibe to them that some OSR games don't. And I've said it time and time again, even though Tunnels and Trolls came out in the later 70s, mechanically, it still feels modern. It feels more modern than, say, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons does. So, check it out. So there are actually, I should also point out that you can pick up Tunnels and Trolls adventures, the GM adventures, because they do have solitaire adventures, which are kind of like, choose your own adventure, which are almost impossible for a game master to run. But I was going to say that a lot of the Game Master adventures for Tunnels and Trolls can easily be ported over to just about any other fantasy role-playing game system out there. So, and once again, it is a cool setting. It's got some good adventures out there as well. So maybe there's a loving cult, because it's, the cult of the Care Bear. So the madman says, I thought Jeff said beer cult. Funny thing is, I almost came downstairs with a couple of ice cold beers. I thought, since I'm not going to be ringing in the new year live, right, doing a show, maybe I have a couple of beers. And I thought, I better not. I better not do that. All righty then. So that is it for, okay, so Pete Cafe says, they went ahead and look at Drive-Thru RPG. Here it is. Bjorni Osa Medved, the leader of the dreaded cult of the Care Bear. I told you. I was like, somebody wasn't paying attention to what they were typing. And then, okay, there you go. Upload that. Good, upload it. You're all good. Funny thing is, and, I met Rick Loomis a couple of times. Never really interviewed him. I chatted with him a little bit. I always felt bad because I always thought Flying Buffalo should have done better than they did as a company. Nuclear War is a great, wacky, light game that I have never played and not had a blast playing. And Tunnels and Trolls has always been a very well-respected role-playing game. But the weird thing is, you know, we would go to like Gen Con because I don't remember Flying Buffalo going to like Origins, but they would be at Gen Con and they'd have a booth and it would look like Rick Loomis had emptied his garage out because it just had all these weird, bizarre, like back issue magazines and it's stuff like it would like had nothing to do with Flying Buffalo. It almost made you feel like you were at the flea market or something with their booth. So I don't know. So Kabuki Kid says Nuclear War is a fun beer and pretzels game. Speaking of beer, I know we introduced it to my brother at Gen Con because my brother will go to Gen Con for a couple of days. He usually helps me. He's my cameraman for a couple of days there. And my brother is not a gamer, although, funny enough, he played Dungeons and Dragons before I ever did. But he didn't stick with it. He only played for maybe a month or two. But he loved Nuclear War, and it's kind of funny if you're not paying attention to the process of you got to make sure your warhead has a delivery system, and you're plotting ahead. It's easy to screw up. It really is. In fact, our late friend Bob, he played some games with us a few times, and that was one we played. And for the life of him, he could not wrap his head around putting the warhead and delivery systems together. He was constantly screwing it up. So, all right. So yeah. So there's some talk about cults. Strange Brew. I remember seeing that. I saw that in the theater. Bob and Doug McKenzie and Strange Brew. Nice. Very cool. All right. So, as I mentioned, no wargaming news today, but I did run across a news piece talking about Ares Games and Universal were trying to rework they were trying to extend the license. Ares was trying to extend the license for Battlestar Galactica, and Universal said no. So Ares Games has lost the license to Battlestar Galactica as of tomorrow. Zoinks! So that would lead me to believe that the upcoming release they had for some new ships is screwed. So I don't know. Very, very weird. I received Battlestar Galactica, the miniatures game, as I got a review copy of it, and I thought it was a pretty good game. I don't think it went over with a lot of people. I don't think it sold well at all. In fact, in my review, I had mentioned I wasn't sure how much support that the game was going to get. And they were like, oh, well, we're going to have like 1980s or what? No, it was 70s. It was like 78, I think, when Battlestar Galactica came out. Because it was like riding the coattails. I swear, this is Diet Pepsi I'm drinking. There's no alcohol or anything in this. I will mention, Pinky's lurking like off this, and I keep catching her, and it's like, I always got to keep an eye on her to see what she's up to. But yes, I think it was 78. Maybe at worst 79. I know I was still in grammar school when Battlestar Galactica came out. And so the discussion was that they were going to release models from the most recent Battlestar Galactica as well as the original Battlestar Galactica, which the funny thing is, as far as the Vipers go, there's really no difference. And the only thing that's really different are the Cylon Raiders. So the thing I was sitting there was, I had thought, there aren't that many ships. And then they started doing where they would they would release, oh, this is so-and-so's like Starbucks ship. And you got the Starbucks card and stuff like that. I don't know. I honestly don't. I don't know where it went. I don't. I like Ares Games. I like the folks that I've always dealt with at Ares Games. But sometimes they just don't. They seem out of sync. Like they've got games that are really good games that just don't sell as well as they should because they just don't seem to be in sync. I don't know. So the one thing is, I know Universal is rebooting Battlestar Galactica. So I'm taking a guess. Universal probably was not easy to deal with for Ares Games. They probably wanted more of the nuts. I don't know. I have no idea. But I thought that was very unusual that the news piece, which I think came out, I think I saw it last night, said, oh yeah, well, yeah, their talks broke down and that's it. It's like, whoa. It's like, okay. So some discussion about Battlestar Galactica. I thought the remake of Battlestar Galactica was excellent until the last season. That whole Starbucks storyline was like, what? Are we going back to that weird crap from the original Battlestar Galactica? And Kabuki Kid mentions the Galactica 1980, which was god-awful. I think that lasted all of like 3 episodes before it got canceled. So, Great A said last season of Battlestar Galactica was like a year-long last episode of Game of Thrones. Yeah, it was a major disappointment. I was not totally upset because I don't get upset about that kind of stuff because it's I don't own it. It's not mine. If it was something where it's like I wrote this screenplay and I have no idea what's up there on the screen because that is not what I wrote, yes, I'd be pissed. Or if I owned that intellectual property, I'd be like, hey, it's not what we agreed on. But since none of that is in effect, I'm like, whatever. Game of Thrones, same thing. I was like, yeah, that was pretty lame. Oh, well, moving right along. A Great A says we can look forward probably to a Dune miniatures game from Modifius if the movies do well. And maybe even if the movies don't do well. So, I don't know. Anyway, so Kabuki Kid says they'll be hugely bummed if the second Dune movie doesn't happen. Yeah, there are some contingencies as far as that getting greenlit. Although they fast-tracked Wonder Woman 3. So, and there aren't a whole lot of people that I'm aware of who are like, wow, that's a great movie. Once again, another movie, I was like, it was all right. But I wasn't upset like, oh, why wasn't this great? All right, so a few other things I was going to point out. So remember, I was talking about how I had ordered copies of the original Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, and Monster Manual. And I actually received the Monster Manual today. And boy, I was pissed. So you're probably not going to be able to tell real well. So this is supposed to be very good condition. Now, if somebody had said, well, it's acceptable condition, then I would say, yes, it's acceptable condition. This is not very good condition. There's a tear up here. There's wear everywhere. Every edge of this book is worn. I will admit, the interior pages are fine from what I saw. They are a little discolored, but not bad. The man says still doesn't look to be very good condition to me. Melwidia says very good. Laugh out loud. I got this from Amazon. So, and the funny thing is, it said good condition, and then in the notes from the seller, this comes from a used bookstore, said slight wear and rubbing. Yeah, slight. Perfect boards, perfect binding, pristine pages. Nope. But I reached out to the seller first and said, hey, I got to be honest here. This is nowhere near the condition you indicated. Because, like I said, they said, oh, you know, slight rubbing, and it said very good condition. So the condition that shows up, if you ever bought anything used on Amazon, said good, but in the notes it said actually very good. So I contacted the seller, and they said, hey, no problem. Just put in for a return, and they'll take care of it. And I was like, okay, that's cool. You know, whatever. That's all right. So I still have two more. I have the two other books coming from different sellers. So those are supposed to be very good. We'll see what happens. So great. He's like, that's not very good. No, it's not. Not very good. Kabuki Kid says maybe good. No, I wouldn't call it good. See, you got to keep in mind, you can't really see that well. So it was kind of funny because I was talking to Elliot today, which he's like, I get mentioned on almost every episode of the stream. I'm like, yeah, almost every episode. Because we have, you know, we've been best friends for 40 years and we've been gaming for 40 years. So yeah, so his name gets mentioned. So I told him how I'd ordered this. He's like, oh man, that's great. That's awesome. And then, yeah, he's like, that sucks. So he's looking forward to joining us on Wednesday. So we will have some fun. No news that night, because I would feel like a jerk making Elliot sit there waiting for me to start, you know, to transfer over to his Skype stream, right? So Melvin says the correct description for that book would be used. I actually believe it's what would be considered acceptable. So I believe it's an acceptable book. So let's see what we've got. I know I don't rate anyone's descriptions of items being sold online unless it's the original copy. And Kabuki Kid says they would only buy books like this if they were very fine or higher. Yeah, well, I'm not going to blow hundreds of dollars on it. So I just want it for kind of the nostalgia, but I don't want something that's like totally beat the shit. I mean, come on. Kabuki Kid's asking what printing this is. This is the 3rd edition. So, like I said, the interior's not so bad. I mean, there's some bleed through on this, but I mean, you know, the condition of the inside pages, I'd be like, you know, I would keep the book. It's just that one of the things you really can't see too well is that all along the spine here on the front and back, it's all bubbled away from the book. You can probably see a little bit. Anyway, so I'm sending it back. So I think I'll go on to eBay, because I actually went to Amazon because I thought, well, I'd probably have better protection as a buyer on Amazon than eBay. And I haven't bought or sold anything on eBay in years after I got screwed selling something. So my old account is long gone. So rather than having a really good rating, I have a 0. So I didn't know. All right, let's see what else we got in chat. So Flaming Heron says, well, if it's from a fan, people who care about books look after them. I do. I even like paperback books and stuff like that. A lot of times I loan them to somebody once I'd finished, and they're like, you read this? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, there are like no creases or anything. I'm like, yeah, because I take care of books. I like books. It's like, jeez. So there's some discussion about picking up old Blu-ray Johnny Quest. Yes, I loved Johnny Quest. That is a flash from the past. Sweet. So there was some discussion about try to buy it local. I don't know of anything. Kabuki Kid's talking about always thinking about comic grading. Yeah, my brother's a comic collector. So, see, and the funny thing is, a lot of times, like when he buys stuff on eBay that's not, CCG graded, he says most of the time the comics he gets are actually better grade than what people say they are. Very rarely does he get something that's worse than what they claim the grade was. So Kabuki Kid says, books I lend out always get beaten. Yeah, I'm with you on that. So therefore, they try not to lend out too much. I don't anymore either. I don't really know that many people anymore that I would be loaning books out to anyway. It's just easier for me to buy them a copy themselves. All right. So anyway, I tackled the Ares Games news, and I'm showing you the monster manual that's going back. I will be taking a peek, I think, tonight on eBay. I'm going to look to see about buying it now. And like I said, I told Elliot today, I said, what bummed me out is that I saw a player's handbook and a dungeon master's guide that have original art. I don't care really what edition it is, as long as it's got the original art. I don't want from like the 6th print run that they changed the artwork, which was actually way better artwork. But that's not those aren't the books I owned. So I want the covers that I owned. But I was going to say that there was a seller in Elgin, Illinois that had like a buy now for a player's handbook and dungeon master's guide that looked really nice. They looked like they were in really good shape. And I thought, man, I think I feel better buying it on Amazon. Well, we'll see what the other ones look like. They're supposed to be coming. I'm surprised this came so fast because it was media mail is supposedly how they were sending them out. So Kabuki Kid says the Parkinson covers were nice, but definitely different. They really are. And they really do make you think that they're 2nd edition covers, but they aren't. Anyway, so one last thing I was going to point out. I did want to thank everybody out there who has visited thegaminggang.com this year, have had over 1 million unique visitors to thegaminggang.com once again. Very, very cool. I'm very excited about that. So, love that fact. Also, do want to thank all of you who watch videos on the Gaming Gang channel, because in 2020, I cracked 250,000 views on the channel. So, I know it's for a big channel, that's no big deal. Whoops, I forgot to get rid of the news here. Duh, get rid of that, Jeff. I only want the one thing showing up. Bing. There we go. So that was very cool. I was like, wow. It's like 250,000 views. I don't believe, if I remember off the top of my head, I think in 2019, it's like 170 some thousand views. So a nice boost. So if you notice, if you take a look, you'll see these 3 spikes. 2 of them are really big spikes. And all 3 of those spikes were, yes, thank you. Flaming Huron knows exactly what it was. Those are Dungeons and Dragons related. So, which is not unusual. Just because, I mean, I see people who do D&D videos that I'll watch a few minutes of it and I'll be like, ugh, yeah, whatever. And they've got like buku subscribers. They've got tons of views. Yeah, if I were real concerned about like making money and pulling in all these views and stuff, I'd do tons of D&D stuff. But that's not really that important to me. So it's kind of like, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, okay. So, so I'm going to share that tomorrow. I'm going to tweet that out. That image there. I didn't do a screenshot of the unique visitors to the website because that's every month. I don't get like a total for the year, so I got to total them all up month by month from those logs that I get. But I'll share something with people watching this because I know there's like the thought that, wow, you know, people on YouTube, they make a good amount of money on their videos. And if you don't post videos to YouTube, you wouldn't know how much money actually comes in. So I'm going to actually share with you my my take for 2020, and I do believe it's counting this month as well that has not, you know, been tallied completely yet. So for the entire year up until today, there you go. Let me, I'm sure I've got some more news down here that needs to be deleted out. There you go. Few cents less than 800 and what is it, 60? I can't, my screen is so little that's popping up in. So yeah, over 250,000 views brought in that. That just goes to show you the people out there who are, you know, like living off their YouTube revenues, they gotta have tons. So, so Flaming Hero says it was great meeting and chatting with all of you. Funny, they saw an older video where they didn't chat so much to anyone beside me. Yes, Kabuki Kid's been here for quite a while. Yes, Grady's correct. I made more money on stimulus than YouTube. Yeah, and that involved a hell of a lot less work, right? It's funny enough, I already got my stimulus today. I got it this morning, and I was like, huh, what is this? I go to look, and I'm thinking, oh, what is this, some sort of like a cash back thing? Hey, here's your 62-cent deposit for your cash back, you know, off this card. And I was like, whoa, oh, I see what it is. Oh, okay. Whatever. It's like, thankfully, I'm not sitting like, oh my gosh, I need the stimulus money. Oh man, I need that stimulus cash. Thankfully, I am not in that boat. Ay, boy. Anyway, so other thing, we had some snow too, so I had to go shovel snow. But it's a good thing I shoveled snow because all those packages for the auction went out today. So I know a lot of you who are hanging out in chat took part in the game auction. Those packages are all en route. So you should be seeing them anywhere from this weekend to early next week. Because I think only one person I sent out just regular, retail, I think they call it. Everything else went out priority. Some was 2, some was 3 day. So should be seeing that stuff pretty shortly. All right, that is it for this time out. I do want to wish everybody a very happy new year. Let's put this dumpster fire of 2020 let's shoot it in the head. I'm serious, let's take it out. Take it out back. Though so far it doesn't look like early 2021 is going to be anything to write home about. It doesn't look like it's going to be great shakes either. But I hope all of you out there have a wonderful new year. I will be back on Monday. So I will have my favorite role-playing game releases. Well, okay, so here's how I'll put it. I'm going to share tomorrow. If you're not busy, if you're sitting around, you're like, I got nothing to watch. Later in the evening, I will have my 2 videos that's going to be sharing my favorite board games of 2020 and my favorite role-playing games of 2020. So stay tuned for those. Those will be out. And then, of course, I will be back on Monday. And next Wednesday, Elliot Miller joins me live. Live in studio. Not really. Live through Skype. So those of you out there who were watching live, thank you very much. Always appreciate you taking time out to hang out and chat, have some fun, make sure I don't feel like a complete doofus just talking into the camera. But also want to mention, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. All it takes is like 2 people to thumb down the videos and it's like, psst, the positivity rate goes down because I don't get that many people watching these videos. But if you have not subscribed to the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to subscribe. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Gaming Gang Dispatch airs live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my recent review for Warhammer 40K Roleplay, Wrath and Glory from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. So anyway, thank you for those watching live. I know some folks out there don't have an opportunity to catch the stream live. You watch after the fact, maybe even on Memorex. I definitely appreciate that as well. I really, really do thank all of you for taking time out to watch any of the videos on this channel. I know I'm not necessarily everybody's bag of tricks. So, as I like to say, as I wrap this show up, once again, I wish everybody a very, very happy New Year. And as I wrap up all these videos during this never-ending pandemic, and I swear one day it will end, just not yet, I hope all of you out there are being smart and staying safe. I'll see you next year. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, if you'd like to subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel, by all means, click right here. And if you'd like to check out one of our recent live streams, click right up top. And if you want to roll the dice and see what the algorithm for YouTube recommends, click right here. And of course, thank you once again for watching. And gang, please stay safe and wear a mask.